Revenge films.
Let me tell you about this idiot at my workplace. His name is Ken. He entered this company around the same time as me. Unlike me, he was a handsome guy who seemed like a fine young man. About 6 months after I started working, he got transferred to my division, where I found out about his rotten nature. If he ever got scolded, even for something small, the next day he would call in sick. His workload would automatically be forced onto me, which happened very often, but not once has he said thank you or sorry to me. Our division was rearranged, and I was put in charge of a fairly demanding position. And while I was still trying to get used to it, he would insult me. "Why aren't you finished yet?" "I'd be done by now, stop pretending like you're tired." And Ken would talk behind my back to the senior employees. "Jake is so worthless. He really can't do anything without me." He would spread baseless rumors like that about me. Thanks to him, I was labeled as the worthless guy, and my evaluations were always low. And my senior employees would pick on me. "This company hired you thanks to me, all right?" He started trying to guilt trip me into buying him booze and cigarettes. When we got a bonus, he tried forcing me to go gambling with him. I hated gambling, so I strongly refused. And he must have been offended because he wouldn't leave me alone after that. "Who do you think looks after you every day?" He never remembered a single time that I covered for him. He was always so insistent about me going gambling with him, and I always wondered what was in it for him. But I found out later that he was planning on taking all my winnings if I won any money. That was such a lose-lose situation for me, obviously. And after I kept refusing, he finally gave up on trying to invite me. There were a few times that we worked on projects together. "Leave this up to me." He would act like he was going to do all the work, but when it came down to it, he made me do most of the work. He barely did anything, but he would order me around like he was my boss or something. Of course, there was no way that I could pull all the weight myself, and I ended up making mistakes and getting scolded and made to write performance reports afterwards. And I wasn't his only victim. One day, a new guy entered our company. Ken made the new guy who barely finished training do ridiculously impossible work and just slacked off. The new guy had no idea what he was doing, but Ken just pretended like he didn't even notice. How do I do this? When the boy asked him questions about things that he obviously couldn't have known. "What the hell? You can't even figure this out? Go back and redo college, you dumbass." Ken just insulted him and yelled at him. And once he was done with the easy parts of the job, "I'm all done with my part. Ha!" He would leave the new guy crying in his corner and go home. This kind of happened all the time. I tried to follow up on the kid, but he ended up getting physically and mentally sick and had to take time off work. After hearing about the boy, "Man, there really are some pretty useless guys out there. All that effort teaching him went to waste." Ken purposefully spoke loudly so everyone would hear him. He was supposed to oversee the boy, but he was so good at kissing ass, so he never got in trouble. That was pretty much his only strong point. He kissed up to his seniors, so not everyone noticed, but there were many junior employees that were broken by Ken. He always had excuses and spoke a big game, so his wrongdoings never surfaced. But I never forgave him for what he did to that new kid, so I decided to get revenge. I was never the aggressive type, so I had to think long and hard about how I could get him back, and the opportunity came faster than I expected. One day, I was paired up with him again, and the project was super hard. "Leave this up to me, sir." As usual, he spoke a big game to our boss and forced me to do all the heavy lifting, and he even went on vacation overseas. But I wanted to take advantage of this opportunity while he was gone, so I did the bare minimum and passed the rest on to him when he got back. Ken seemed relaxed about it because he expected me to finish all the work, and he probably just planned to blame it on me if it wasn't finished. It's not done yet. "What were you doing while I was gone, you useless piece of trash? Hurry up and finish it!" Just as expected, he tried to force me to do all the work, but this time, I didn't comply. Well, a useless piece of trash like me was able to get this far, so I'm sure that a brilliant prodigy like yourself will have no problem finishing it off, right? I gave him a big smile and refused to do the rest. But the truth is, Ken had a good impression with our bosses, but he was very incapable. He was just hiding it well with his talk and attitude, but he was also a prideful man. And I knew that if I fed his fire, he would bite. So I used that against him. "Huh? Of course, asshole, this is easy. He took the bait, just as expected. So I left him with the rest of the work and just observed. He had his pride on the line and was trying really hard to finish it on time, but he was making so many mistakes and wasn't getting anywhere. He was getting agitated and came to me. Hey, you do some of this too. Really? You can't handle this? It should be no problem for you. Good luck. I didn't take no for an answer and just left him with it all. Watching him from a distance made it even more apparent how incapable he was. He would pace back and forth, not knowing what to do, so I decided to keep pressing. I went to another senior employee. Ken says that he's got this, so if you have anything else you want me to do, I'll work on that. Oh, really? Can I ask you to help out with this then? I'm kind of behind on this. That would help so much. He seemed really happy that I was willing to help out. I could feel Ken's glare like he was saying, "Why are you helping him and not me?" He seemed very annoyed, but I didn't care. Now that I was helping a senior employee out, there was no way that he could try to switch workloads with me. The more annoyed he got, the less efficient he became. And I had a good excuse now when he came to ask for help. Sorry, man, I've got to do this. So, good luck. You got that. He couldn't argue that. And I kept repeating this for the next few weeks. He changed over this period of time from a fine young man to a spoiled dumbass. He seemed fatigued and he was complaining to everyone. I'm working so hard, but no one is helping me out. He just started taking it out on the people around him. And finally, he said that there was trouble at home and stopped coming to work completely. I didn't have anything to do with it from there on, but he kept tumbling down further and further. 1 month later, he started coming back, but the boss decided that he couldn't risk another incident like that and was sent off to a less busy branch in the countryside. He ended up quitting, saying that this wasn't what he signed up for, and his wife got fed up with him and left him, and he got kicked out of the house. He lived in his car for a while, but he ran out of money and begged our president to take him back. And although he was rehired in a different division of the company, he continually made mistakes and ended up backfiring at the boss who looked after him and quitting again. He had a friend hire him as a contract worker for a couple of months, but ended up using most of his money on gambling and was living day to day now. He even tried calling me up for help. Hey, can you lend me some money? Oh, and I'm having a hard time getting by right now, so will you let me live with you? I gladly rejected him. Finally, the other day, after borrowing money from his company, his bosses, and senior and junior employees, he disappeared into thin air. My boss was furious. If I find him, I'm gonna beat him to a pulp, and then some. He was good with his words, so he managed to make many people lend him money. My part of the revenge may have been insignificant, but watching him ruin his own life was kind of satisfying. On a side note, the new kid came back after Ken was gone to fill his spot. Most of his depression was caused by Ken, so after he was out of the picture, I'd been calling the kid up and telling him that he could take his time and come back when he wanted to. That kid works under me now. And the other day, I saw on the news that Ken had been arrested in a different state. I guess he was using his mouth to scam people. The last picture I saw of him, he was covering his face in a hoodie in the back of a police car.
How was today's video? If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Stay tuned for more.